Hey everybody, welcome to the Law and Crime Network. I'm Michael Bryant and that's Catherine Smith. This is the afternoon session, or as I like to call it, Fridays with Katie.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Abuse of a corpse, the only guilty decision there, and Catherine, I feel like I just got to call you Katie. Katie, a horrible case in terms of the raw facts, but I think the right decision. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, you know how I felt about the defendant.
Yes, you were not a big fan of this young lady. So,
not a huge fan.
So you had to choke down this verdict, apparently.
Well, you know, I had to let my personal feelings aside and look at the evidence as any juror, whether it's a sideline juror or ones that are impaneled, should do. And that's to really look at the evidence. And the evidence for her causing the death of that infant just wasn't there. But I think there was sufficient evidence to show that she, disposed the corpse improperly.
So let's talk about that, because I have right here the statute, okay? And this is the statute that we believe, we being lots of folks who chat about these things, think it's going to be attacked on constitutional grounds as being just vague and ambiguous. But this is the way it's worded, okay? And we're looking at subsection B of Ohio Revised Code 2927.01, done in 2018. No person, except as authorized by law, shall treat a human corpse in a way that would outrage community sensibilities, whatever in the heck that is. That leads to the vagueness argument. What are your thoughts on that?
Void for vagueness. That's the legal terminology that if you would challenge this on constitutional grounds, that it would have to be overturned. The idea being that people need to be put on notice as to whether or not their actions will be a crime. And that reference to outrage of community standards is so vague and fluctuating because it's not fixed in time. So there's no way for you to know if what you're doing is violative of that statute. It is problematic.
Yeah, and we're certainly, it's going to be attacked. And that's right in your wheelhouse, because you are not only a trial attorney, but a civil rights superhero.
That is absolutely right.
That is right where you need to focus your attentions. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll be following that. Johnson is Trey Johnson's mom. Trey was the boyfriend that Skylar Richardson was seeing at the time, and he was the father of the baby. Katie Smith, a little bit much from the almost grandmother. I don't know. What do you think?
I was genuinely surprised that she was that affected by this. I mean, it seems that it's a little bit indirect to affect someone so much like that. But this is the thing: there's so much collateral damage when a life is lost, and I think that that's part of what we need to take away from this. That it's not just one life that was lost, but this affects a lot of people.
Oh yeah. So certainly closer to the whole mix, and this is again pre-sentencing, is Brooke Skylar Richardson's dad. Here's what he had to say. I imagine that statement was counseled somewhat by Skylar's attorney, saying, we're in a pretty good place here. We feel pretty confident, Katie. Would they maybe advise the dad, just keep it simple?
I think so. I watch this and I think, how different is justice in this case if she would have been a black or brown woman? Honestly, I feel like the justice has been very soft. They're like, oh, she has an eating disorder, let's bring her home. I mean, I understand that she has problems, but I really think that justice sometimes gets unequally applied here.
Wow, you go right back at her, right? She just got off on these 3 super charges, and yeah, so race was never brought into this case in any way, but you think it truly had some impact?
I think that race always has an impact. I mean, it permeates our society and certainly our criminal justice system. And I come at this from a perspective as a civil rights attorney, and we see cases throughout the country where black and brown women and women of color are being accused of these types of crimes. And this is, in fact, I saw some of my clients who were posting things on Facebook about how outraged that they were that someone got off so lightly for these types of crimes. So there is definitely some resonance in the communities about this.
So it's not just the fact that she got off lightly, but she just happens to be white. So it's not good to be white if you get a light sentence.
I think the idea is that people look a little bit more gently upon this, image of a white woman who has an eating disorder and she's from the suburbs and, she had this bright future ahead of her. I think people look at that and give her more of a benefit of the doubt than traditionally people do with women of color.
Okay, we're going to come back and talk much more about this. We may get into an arm wrestling match, I'm not sure. But we'll come back. What did Skylar have to say? She had a chance to talk to the court before sentence was pronounced. We'll come back with that in just a moment. This is Law and Crime.